Good evening and good day, whatever time it is for you. I am thankful that you're here. I'm psyched on spending some time with you. My name is Tara. I am a certified peer support specialist and an engineer. I specialize in supporting people in recovery from substance misuse and mental health conditions. So, if that is you, you are in the right place. I am so glad you're here. If that's not you, I am so glad you're here. You're in good company. You are welcome here. Everyone is welcome here. So, how's everybody doing today? It's nice to see y'all here. I see some very rich conversation in the chat before this thing even started. That is so nice to see. Tampa B Man, Black Cat, welcome in, Black Cat. I'm so glad you're here. Ben Bacon Bits, the man, Mr. Ben. So, Ben, I got to tell you, I did not know how giant you are until I heard it over on the Lifeboat channel. I think it was Tommy who said, "You're gargantuan." And I had no idea how tall you are. How tall are you exactly, Ben? I just had no idea. Tampa B Man. Hey, Tampa B Man. How are you doing, Tampa B Man? I am so glad you're here. Hey, y'all. On Thursday nights, we have a Discord meeting. It is free as of right now. I'm going to get a link for you. I was trying to do that before, but then all of a sudden 4:15 hit. Let me get you that link. Here we are. Actually, we just changed it. We decided to start meeting a half an hour earlier than we have been. So over on Discord at 5:30 Pacific Standard Time, we have a 90-minute meeting now. We just changed it from 60 to 90 minutes because we can never seem to end on time. And I do the Lifeboat now at 7. So I like to end on time, which means we had to start a little bit earlier so that everybody gets a chance to share what they have on their mind. It's fun. We have a little topic, you can either share on topic or you can share whatever's on your mind. I love that it's face to face in Discord because I love streaming too. I like seeing y'all in the chat. I like interacting with you this way. Discord, though, is something special because I can see your face too. And you are not required to go on camera. There's no requirement saying that you must show your face, even though I love to see your faces. You could be on voice if you want. You could just be in the chat if you want. If you don't know how to use Discord, I could teach you. It's, from what I understand, can be a little difficult to navigate at first. And I had that experience too. It was a little difficult to figure out. But once I was in there poking around for a little bit, I was able to figure out. And I am a great teacher, if I do say so myself. So if you need some support in figuring out Discord so that you can be a part of the face-to-face chat on Thursdays at 5:30 Pacific Standard Time, just let me know. I'm happy to help you. Ben, it is on Thursday. Tampa B Man is barely 5'2". Okay, I'm 5'7", Tampa B Man, but I hear Ben is darn near 8 feet or something like that. Oh, Ben, I missed it. I'm 6'5", not that big. Come on. 6'5" is borderline giant, Ben. Discord is awesome, Black Cat. I agree. Plant Freak in the house. Hey, Plant Freak. Stasia, it's always nice to see you roll through here. So glad you're here. Y'all had quite a meeting over at Need a Meeting. And I was so happy to see that you were still there. I know I expressed that over there, but if y'all are not familiar, I think everybody in here is actually from over there. Oh, I didn't even see Body Illusion sneak in. Hey, Body Illusion, glad you're here. I think everybody in here is actually from over there right now. So I'm not going to share the link, but when more people come in, sometimes it takes a while for people to trickle in, for people to get the notifications. So when more people trickle in and say, "What's up?" I will drop a link to Carol's channel because it's awesome. I've been loving interacting with that community over there. Y'all are amazing. Tampa B man, I can see you too over at Discord. I cannot see you right now on YouTube, although I think that would be great. I have been playing around with StreamYard and Restream to figure out which platform I would like to integrate into my channel. I am leaning toward StreamYard at this point in time for a couple different reasons, but I would like to start having people on this channel. So if you want to be on this channel and have a conversation, I'll only be able to have 6 people on at a time. So I'm not going to be able to uh, recreate what Carol at times creates. She's got like a whole collection of people on there sometimes, which is super fun. I do have some ideas for interviews. And I know like I'm kind of on a similar wavelength as Lifeboat. I've been like, are you in my head right now? Because I've been thinking of having people on also. So that'll be interesting to see how they do things over there. What's Rusky, Blackhead? Blackhead is 6'7". Dang, y'all are tall. Artem in the house. Hey, Artem. Nice to see you. Welcome in. How are you doing, Artem? Did you work today? How was it? Plant Freak is 5'2" and 3/4, and that 3/4 does matter. That reminds me of when we're like, you know, when we say we're so proud of ourselves when sobriety times like this too. I was thinking of age, when we're so proud of ourselves that we're like almost 13. So we're like, I am 12 and a half, or I am 12 and 3/4. Sobriety time's kind of like that too, isn't it? Like where my elbow just slipped. Sobriety time is kind of like that too, where I've been in the past like, well, I'm 2 weeks and I'm going to have 3 years, it's kind of like that same thing. I celebrated 3 years, by the way, but I remember the moving up to it, I was like super stoked on it. You know what? Rumble is something I haven't done, Black Cat. Is Rumble worth it these days? I haven't posted to Instagram or Facebook in quite some time, and I'm just trying to kind of figure out this whole YouTube thing and where I want to go with it. Tampa B man, I would love to have you at the Discord meeting. You are always welcome. Henny in the house, just stopping by to say hello. Hope all went well with your interview. I'm sure you did great. Hello, everyone. Have a great evening. That is something that I definitely have on my list slated to discuss this evening or this morning, depending on where you're at in the world. So perfect segue, Henny. I'm glad you stopped by to say hello. I had a job interview today, and some of you already know this, but some of you, this is going to be news to you. And if you are just joining us, welcome in. I'm so glad you're here. Drop a comment. Let us know who you are. I want to support you. Sometimes I know when there's like a talking head on the screen, it can be difficult to share, especially because I'm having a pretty darn good day. I know it can be difficult or challenging to share something that might be challenging for you when the person on the other end is doing pretty good. Maybe it's because like what I've experienced in the past, I didn't want to be a burden or I didn't want to rain on somebody's parade, but that is what we are here for, is to provide support for the challenging things and for the exciting things. So it was so nice on Carol's channel to receive some support for something positive going on. That is sort of a new thing that I'm getting used to in my recovery, is feeling like I can ask for support for celebrations. Celebrations, not really a huge thing for me prior to this point in time. It's like big accomplishments, got like a good job or something, but not necessarily a huge celebration. So I am ready to start celebrating the positive things in life because there's so much good going on right now. And I know things are challenging for some people. Just know you're in good company. everything is temporary, including the good times. So that is why I'm doing my best to enjoy it while it lasts. Russians, Belarusian, am I saying that right? And Latvians are the tallest men I have ever met, says Stasia. Ben Bacon Bits, are you talking about me? A photo of me on Instagram? Which one are you talking about? Yes, by all means, celebrate, says Ben. Thank you. Thank you. I love all the prompts to celebrate. Speaking of celebration, celebrate by hitting that like button if you haven't already. Also, something that I just learned from the Lifeboat channel from Captain Spanks over there is that if you are getting unsubscribed mysteriously from channels, a little hack is to hit the bell for all notifications. And that way you won't get unsubscribed. So if you haven't hit the like button, please do that for me. It's a huge help. It's how we get the message out to other people. And hit that bell if you're so inclined. Yeah, so Plant Freak just made a comment how about she continued from needing a meeting. That needing a meeting is such a great meeting. I have so been enjoying being over there with Carol and everybody that's in the chat. I think Les Artem was over there at needing a meeting. Artem, if you're ever interested, you might be working at this time, but at 1:40 Pacific Standard Time, let me get a link to that really quick. 1:40 Pacific Standard Time, Carol over at Needing a Meeting goes live, and she has people go on her channel in Restream is what she uses. So bear with me while I grab the link. I think I got it for y'all. Great channel, Carol over at Needing a Meeting. Blackhead's a gentle giant. I'm so glad that somebody in here is gentle. I don't know that Ben would say the same. I'm curious if Jen identifies as a gentle giant. What type of giant are you, Ben? I was in Minsk for orphanage work at, I mean, I don't know how to pronounce any of these things, y'all. Bear with me while I do my best. And Riga, Jermala in Latvia. I need to put my phone on Do Not Disturb because that was very loud in my ear. Ben says the pic where you looked shocked, it's shocked is priceless. You know, I think that's a video that I created when I got knocked in the leg by a falling rock. You know what happened? I didn't talk about this in that video, but we were at the base of El Cap visiting some friends who were climbing that wall, El Cap in Yosemite. And the person up on the wall did not have their bivy sack secured, and the wind picked it up and blew it. And they didn't lose the bivy sack, but the bivy sack caught a rock that was on the ledge that they were camped out on. And that rock fell from hundreds of feet and thousands of feet in the air. Maybe not thousands, hundreds of feet in the air, and nailed me right in the leg. Thank God it didn't hit me directly in the leg. It actually ricocheted off of the wall, like off of the base of the wall, and then ricocheted onto my leg. It was so badly bruised, which you can see in the video if you watch it. I think probably 45 seconds in, you can see the bruise that it left. It was shocking, Ben. It was shocking. Can you believe I still like to climb? Plain freak, I didn't know you were a foster child. Artem, nothing new at work. It's too much. I'm pretty tired. Don't really want to talk much right now. Curious to hear about this interview you had. Are you about to be working too? Okay, perfect segue. Perfect segue. So I did have a job interview today. I interviewed at a local nonprofit. I've been volunteering for them for over a year now. And so this is basically a technicality that they had to interview me. I believe that I got the job because we were talking about scheduling at the end and how training is going to be starting next week. So, yes, Artem, I am about to be working as well. I've been receiving payments for a job that I completed in 2020, uh, but that stops this month. So, actually, the timing is perfect to be starting a new job. I'm psyched that the interview happened today because normally I would be getting paid today, but the interview happening today is a good consolation for that. And I am ready to. Uh, some of you know I've been building my own business on the side. It's slow to start a new business. I do offer one on one peer support sessions. And I also have been math tutoring. I tutored math in university for 3 years, up to calculus 3 and differential equations. So on the side, I am offering tutoring lessons as well as taking engineering gigs, which is what I've been getting paid on for the past while. So um, that's a lot of different things. The peer support is what I'm super passionate about, but I can't sustain myself on peer support alone right now, which is why I'm getting a actual job. Plus, it's like I would do this stuff for free. I've been volunteering with this agency, like I said, for over a year. And what they're asking me to do, I would do for free as a volunteer. So it will be so nice to get paid to do something that I would just be happy to do anyways. Looking forward to that. I will be welcoming people in to the navigation center, people who are experiencing homelessness. The goal of this center is to get people off of the street, out of their cars, and into housing. Some of you know that I lived in my car for 5 years and in shelters for 2 years. So they're looking specifically for people with lived experience to fill these roles, and they're looking for quite a few people. So it's not even like I'm in competition with a lot of people. It's pretty much, like I said, a technicality. I check all the boxes. I meet all the requirements. They also need someone who can navigate a spreadsheet and a database, which is my cup of tea. I love spreadsheets. I'm super nerdy like that. So I'm looking forward to it. They're going to do all kinds of different training for us, like de-escalation training and like trauma informed care training, how to identify people who are in abusive situations and how to help them. So I'm excited about this role. I think it's going to help develop me as a peer support specialist so that I can continue serving people on a one-on-one basis and build my own agency in that way. So this is really just a stepping stone, I guess, is how I can look at it. But who knows? I might end up moving into a more um, significant role in this company. Not that the job I'm applying for isn't significant, but I did ask about room for growth at the nonprofit, and potentially doing case management or something like that eventually. And they are contracting people to do case management. It's not going to be within the agency itself, but they want to keep me inside the agency, they said. So that's a good sign that they're like, no, we want you to stay here. We'll see what the future holds. If we're a good fit for each other, which we are a good fit for each other. I've really enjoyed volunteering with them the past year. Then who knows what the future has in store. But Artem, thank you for your question. I have definitely been working on my own independent projects all the while. But I'm actually going to have a real like part-time job hopefully very soon. Oh, and if you're interested in working with me one-on-one or contracting me for a technical or engineering project, you can reach me at, let me get you the email address. Oh, you know what? I actually just got, I got a new email address. Let me type it in for you. It's very easy to remember. Now that I'm offering engineering and math tutoring in addition to peer support, I got a blanket email. Before I had a recovery email just for peer support, but I have skills outside of peer support and people keep telling me to leverage them. So I'm going to test out leveraging all my different skills and kind of seeing where it goes. So if you want to get in contact with me, the tarasmiling at yahoo.com is the place to do it. Thanks, Henny. I believe I got it also. El Capitan, yes, sir. Body Illusion is from a silly place called California. I'm not from here, Body Illusion, but I am here. And it is pretty silly, but I love it. Oh, Black Hat, my grandma's was the best. God bless her soul. God bless her soul, Black Hat. Artem, Tara, your stream and your Discord are entirely sufficient for me. I don't really feel like I need any sources of support for now. I hardly have the time for anything else anyways. Artem, I totally understand. It's not one-on-one's not for everyone. I am so glad that you're benefiting from the peer support provided in the live streams and the Discord. I'm glad you're getting benefit out of that. Speaking of which, some people have been sending in donations and that's really been helping me out. Links are in the description of this video, I believe, if not in the description of the channel for Cash App and Venmo. You can also book a one-on-one, but I'm offering special discounts right now while I get up off the ground. $15 for 30 minutes of peer support. You get your first 15 minutes for free. Okay, that's enough plugging stuff. I'm not going to plug anything else right now. Thank you, Body Illusion. I'm also very excited. Scott Len in the house. Scott Len, oh my gosh, I have a story for y'all. So I was supposed to take my Medi-Cal peer support specialist exam last week. Some of you know this already. I'll tell some people in here don't know that there were technical difficulties. I could only upload half of the pictures of they want a photograph of my face. They wanted a photograph of my ID front and back. I was able to successfully upload that. Could not upload pictures of my testing space. My phone would not let me. I had tested my computer system several times to make sure everything would work, and the photographs on my phone didn't work. And so I had to connect with technical support. They had to cancel my exam. I rescheduled it for tomorrow at 2:00 Pacific Standard Time. So hopefully everything goes well. I am a certified peer support specialist now, but the Medi-Cal exam is going to give me the opportunity to bill Medicaid. That's not a plug. That's just as a matter of fact. So hopefully I pass that test tomorrow. The next time I go live, I will be able to report back on whether or not I passed that exam. But I feel pretty confident that I'm going to make it. Blackhead left his country with the family in 1947. Ben went through a class where the instructor was an ex Spetsnaz? a long time ago. He was intense. It sounds intense. I don't know what a Spetsnaz is. It sounds scary. And Scott, I don't think I said it, but it is so nice to see you here. It's always nice to see you here. Oh, one thing I want to tell y'all before I forget, being that I am starting uh, training the next week and I'm going to be starting a new role, I do not know what my schedule is going to be. I hope that I'm able to maintain lives on Monday. There is a chance that I may need to shift things around. So I just want to plant a seed that that might be coming, but I will communicate ahead of time what's going on, whether it be in my community tab if something happens sooner than the next time I go live. Or the next time I go live, I'll definitely keep you posted on what's going on. Yeah, definitely don't confuse Russian with Belo. Oh, Belarusian. It is not Belarusian. Belarusian. Am I saying that right? I want updates from y'all. What's going on with you? I want to hear what's going on with you. What's good? What's frustrating? Tell me about it. Plant Freak. I learned a lot about the Soviet Union while being there post coup. My first ex, he lived in Moscow when the coup was ongoing, 90 to 91. His dad was a Canadian Navy. Plant Freak, you have had a lot of experiences in what sounds like, uh, well, you're talking about your ex actually, but you, you're very cultured, I think. Ben, peer support. Been meaning to ask you, is that mainly for those who are in drugs? I support people in recovery of all walks of life, whether it be substance misuse or mental health recoveries. Those are my two main points of focus. But I did have an inquiry about people in recovery from um, EDs, or I'm just going to say it, eating disorders. And I am happy to support people wherever they're at. I'm happy to meet people wherever it is that they are at. I have certainly struggled with food in the past. I will just disclose that. Um, my mom has struggled with food in the past. And so I have firsthand and family experience with that type of thing. If I don't necessarily have experience with something like I can't even think of some, I don't have experience with this, so why would I be able to think of something? But uh, there's lots of things that I don't know anything about. Like if you wanted to talk about television shows from before my time, then I might not be the best person to have that discussion. But in terms of peer support, I am able to provide support in lots of different areas. My focus is in people who struggle with mental health recovery and substance misuse recovery. My job is to work myself out of a job, though, y'all. So I am working on getting certified with Medi-Cal. Like I said, I have that test coming up, and once I'm able to bill Medi-Cal, it's not going to cost anything for people to work with me. I get to bill their insurance. Belarus is what I call my cat Belle. Oh my gosh, you guys. So I am thinking of, how over at the lifeboat, they are having people send in photographs of their pets. So I don't have a pet right now, but what do y'all think about this? I want your honest opinions. I am a sourdough fanatic. Some of you know this, some of this is news too. And I have been thinking about, she even has a name. My sourdough starter has a name. She's almost a year old in May. She'll be a year old. I've been thinking about sending them a photograph of Vicky, my sourdough starter. What do you think about that? Scotland, tarasmiling is a Yahoo. You know what? I tried to get tarasmiling at Gmail and somebody took it and it wasn't me. I thought maybe I got it when I was in my addiction or something and I just didn't remember, but I tried to recover it and it's not me. It somebody else has tarasmiling at Gmail and it ain't me. So I've been trying to come up with all sorts of clever ideas for emails, different variations to have a Gmail, which I did get a few different Gmails, which some of y'all have seen those before. But then I saw the lifeboat got sober at myyahoo.com. And I was like, I didn't think about going with a different platform. Why didn't I think of that? So I got tarasmiling at Yahoo because Ben is correct. I am indeed a Yahoo. Lenino is where I'm coming from. I don't think that I'm saying any of these words right. Belarus means White Russian. That's a beverage that I used to make as a bartender, but I've never actually I have had a White Russian before, but I don't do that anymore. I hope that wasn't triggering to y'all. I apologize if it was. Body illusion. Born and raised in the Silicon Valley. I always say that word wrong. I lived up in SF, that's San Francisco, if you don't know, for 6 months in my car. I was a dirtbag hippie in San Francisco, living in my car, working at a climbing gym for 6 months. That was wild. Why'd you move, Body Illusion? Yeah, why'd you move? My Belle is mostly white. My Vicky is mostly white too. Kind of like off-white. Blackhead goes home once a year. Lately, it's been hard to do. Blackhead, what do you need to go? What needs to happen for you to go? Do you want to go? Like, is it hard emotionally or is it hard to actually get all the ducks in a row to get out there? Blackhead. Oh, okay. Blackhead's not going to have a great night, Blackhead. I hope that you get some good rest. Wow, I lost my spot. I thought I was going to go live with StreamYard tonight and then I totally spaced it. I don't think I'll lose my spot with StreamYard. Thanks, Plant Freak. I appreciate the support. I shared this in the last meeting that in Carol's meeting that it has felt incredibly uncomfortable. I'm just going to be honest. The support that I've been receiving lately, I'm not used to it. I really appreciate everybody who has been nice and supportive lately. I shared in the last meeting that I'm used to getting support in my recovery when things are going bad. I've become comfortable with asking for help, even though it's not necessarily comfortable. I'm saying I've become comfortable asking for help when things are bad. But when things are good, I feel still some kind of way about sharing it and having people celebrate with me. So I appreciate every single one of you for wishing me well in this interviewing process and for being here right now. Thank you so much. I appreciate you and I want to celebrate you. Scott, I took mine in person to avoid it. Our instructor advised to avoid it. To avoid the technical difficulties. If this happens again tomorrow, I am going to take it in person, Scott. But the nearest testing site is an hour away from where I live, either north or south. They're both equidistant. And I, quite frankly, don't feel like spending over 2 hours in the car on top of 2.5 hours at the testing site. So I'm going to give it one more shot doing it online. In theory, everything should be fine, but I'm hoping that my phone's not too old. It's time for me to get a new phone, and I will here soon, but not before tomorrow. Oh, Spetsnaz. Am I saying that right? Is the Russian special forces? That sounds terrifying. Tampa B man, you'll ace the test. I have faith in you. Tampa B man, thank you, thank you, thank you. I think that all I need is like a 75 or an 80 to pass, but they don't actually disclose the score that's needed. I think they probably change it. I don't know, based on, I don't know what it's based on because I get my score instantly. So it's not like they're waiting to see what everybody scores and then giving me my score. So I don't know how they make that decision, but they don't tell us what we need. It's just either pass or fail, but I would love to ace it. That's my style. But then I went to school with somebody who used to say, C's get degrees. But I don't know if a C is going to get the certification in this case. I might need an 80 or an 85. From what I understand, they be cray cray. I'm cray cray sometimes too, but I'm a little less tame these, or a little more tame these days. You know, in recovery, in the beginning, I felt like I had lost my sense of humor and like I just was never going to be the same again. But the past several months, I would say, since I became medicated appropriately, just full disclosure, I do take mental health meds and it has been a game changer for me. Since that all got into place and I got on the right, my brain got balanced. I have felt way more like myself, and it's like, all right, I don't need the drugs, I don't need the alcohol to kick it. Like, I feel frisky, I feel at times funny. I don't know if other people agree, but at times maybe they do. They probably wouldn't tell me if they didn't, but I digress. All I'm trying to say is that I have been feeling more like myself prior to recovery, but just with less brain fog. I have a better memory. I'm able to be present more, and that feels really good. Have y'all noticed that in your recovery? I want to hear if you've experienced the same, or are you still uh, in a I don't want to call it a phase because I don't know that that ever lifts for everybody, but for me, it took getting on the right mental health meds to feel like, all right, I'm back. Bears in human suits, that sounds like a television show or something. Sean, the almost American. Hey, Sean. He says, hey, Tara, how's you? Sean, I'm doing pretty darn good. I'm feeling frisky. I'm feeling thankful. I had an interview today. It went really well. How are you doing? Ben says he was nice enough, but yeah, that switch you have that says don't do that, you'll get hurt. He didn't have that. Ooh, a lot of climbers don't have that either. I do have that sometimes, not all the time. Like that time in that video that you're talking about, Ben, where I look surprised on the thumbnail and Instagram, the cover. I did not have a helmet on. None of us had helmets on. We were at the base of El Cab without helmets. How stupid can you get? None of us had. So I am so lucky that I didn't get hit in the head with the rock that fell. Not the ricochet was one thing, but like I could have got nailed in the head with a freaking boulder. That's terrifying. Scott, God's testing your patience. Do you want to tell us more about it, Scott? I want to hear about what you're going through right now. Sean, I thought you meant erectile dysfunction. What do you mean, Sean? You talking to me? Tampa B. I've been on meds for bipolar for probably 15 years, was finally honest with the new doc and found out I was misdiagnosed. I'm now getting off lithium. Should be off by the end of the month. That is so exciting. Tampa B Man says she's pretty excited, and I think that is incredibly exciting. Being on the wrong meds is so incredibly frustrating. It took me how long? I started taking mental health meds in December of 2022. And it took me, I think, 7 or 8 months to get on the first mental health med that actually worked for me. Not that that did the trick. I still needed more support, but that's a long time. 7 months is a long time to feel worse than when you started off. If you are just starting your mental health recovery journey and medication is a part of your path, let me tell you what, it can be a long, arduous, frustrating road, but in the end, for me, it was definitely worth it. It took several provider switches for me to get on the right cocktail, if you will. And I am truly blessed to have the nurse practitioner that I have. She has been unbelievably amazing in the services that she has, the deals that she's been able to arrange for me so that I can afford treatment. She gave me some clothes, some hand-me-down clothes yesterday. Actually, this top is a hand-me-down from her daughter who moved out of the house, and I wore it to my interview today with a skirt that I already had, but she gave me a bunch of clothes yesterday. I'm not saying Luke in the house, Mr. Merca Bastic, Mr. Merca Bastic. That's Luke. Nice to see you, Luke. Life is good and frustrating, lacking self-value internally for some reason, not sure the origin. Luke, that seems very odd for you. What did something happen, or is this just something that you're noticing? I like, Luke, how you said it's good and frustrating. That shows a balanced perspective, and that's a strength in your case. I think that, well, I can't speak for everybody, but I can speak for myself. And I have definitely not had self-value before in my recovery, especially before I was properly medicated, since we were just talking about that. And I was living at shelters at that time. I couldn't seem to get my stuff together to the point where I could take care of myself. And I didn't feel very good about myself at that time. Good news for you, Luke. I'm still very curious what if something happened, or if you're just out of the blue feeling this way. I just want to plant a seed of hope that, like, it is temporary. You know, stay sober. When I stay sober and don't fall prey to the feelings that drugs or alcohol will make me feel better, and I pull out the coping mechanisms, I mean, all the stops, you know, the halt, the hungry, angry, lonely, tired, the inventory work that some that works for some people, not all people. The talking with a therapist, journaling, talking with friends, talking with family, if you're in communication with your family, which I haven't always been. It's kind of a recent thing that I've been talking with my family more, which is beautiful. But I mean, the support system is so important to me when I start feeling frustrated. It's wonderful, though, I think that you are here. I'm so glad you're here. And it's wonderful that you can see good in what you're going through. Stasia, I'm so far behind. I'm going to read Stasia's comment and then I'm going to go live with y'all. And then I might come back if I have time. So, uh, Stasia says, food seems to be becoming an issue more so later in my life. Stress, no eating, emotional overeating. Food is a challenge for a lot of people. And I am so glad that you felt and feel safe enough, Stasia, to express this. I had no idea that this was a part of your journey. Um, I can relate to not eating. My not eating was because there's like a name for it. I forget what the name is, but it's like you think that everything is bad for you. It's like, I don't want to eat sugar, therefore I'm not eating fruit. I'm not eating carbs. For a while I wasn't eating sourdough, and I love sourdough. So I'm back to eating sourdough, but mine's been more health related, but then it's like I eliminate so much from my diet that I'm not getting enough calories. So I have to be really careful to get enough calories. Okay, Scott said, I have an obstacle out of my control before I start peer support, and I have an offer sheet and can't sign it. Scott, do you want to share what the obstacle is, or are you more, maybe you're not comfortable going into more detail? Um, how long do you have to accept the offer or not, Scott? Let's go, sourdough gang. That's right, said Scott. All right, I'm going to go live and see what's cracking. Scott says, um, there is a small portion that has to do with approach and terms. But the majority of my, oh, he's talking about the test. The majority of my test was ethics questions. All right, hopefully I can handle ethics. If not, in Minnesota anyway, of course. Artem, I'd be curious about what's considered ethical in peer support space. How do they determine these things? Yeah, there's in California, anyways, there is a code of conduct for peer support specialists, and it's all based in ethics, like an ethical code of conduct. I'm not going to pull out my book and read it to you right now, but Artem, if you want to book a one-on-one with me, we can go over that. I'm joking and serious all at the same time. Scott, there's a small portion that, oh, I read that already. Luke, it's a lingering feeling that hopefully is surfacing to be released. Luke, how do you plan on managing that? What is your plan? It's surfacing. And that, again, with your perspective, it's so helpful. A lot of people don't have that perspective that you have, but you're aware that something is going on. You're aware that something is surfacing. That's fantastic. Good job. I hope you keep up the hard work. What is your plan, if I can ask, for managing these things surfacing? What are you going to do? Tampa Bay man's son's name is Luke. Artem, so is basically just a test of your legalese, just HIPAA stuff, nothing about actual peer support tactics? Yes, Scott, their own solutions. That is the nature of peer support. The test is under the state certification board, and as long as I follow HIPAA laws, my peers and coworkers will help me build my peer support skills. The key is supporting people to come up with their own solutions. Yes. Heather in the house. Hey, Heather. I'm so glad you're here, Heather. It's nice to see you. Oh, Artem, I was referring to the other people's support groups you were plugging, Tara, when saying I don't need any more support. But I don't really feel like I need any one-on-one either, Artem. I totally get it, Artem, but I'm here for you if you need it. Good evening, Heather. You're welcome, Heather. I'm glad you're here. If you're just coming in, my name is Tara. I'm a peer support specialist and engineer. I specialize in supporting people in recovery from substance misuse and mental health conditions. I also work on engineering projects. So if that's of interest to you, I'm going to put my email in the chat again. I forgot what my email was there for a second, my new one. I just got this new email because it is a blanket for everything that I do, which is a lot. Okay, I'm going back into the comments to see what I missed. Sean thought you meant erectile dysfunction. The bears in human suits comment? I'm just kidding. I've been, oh, I read that one. I don't think I went back far enough. I hope you're able to get around from that obstacle, says Ben to Scott. I agree. Scott made chocolate chip cookie caramel bars on Sunday. I bet they were sourdough and they sound amazing. Tampa Bay Man, my hubby is doing sourdough starter thing too. Definitely send a pic of your baby. You have to feed it every day. After all, I know it is my pet. You named your sourdough starter? Yes, her name is Vicky. I've had other sourdough starters in the past. My first one's name was Eli. I had to let him go when I left Mexico when the pandemic hit. My second one's name was Sam because I was at a Good Samaritan shelter. And then I started a gluten-free one and I named him Rico. I also had to let them go because I moved to a few different shelters after that. It was too much to manage in my car. But now I have Vicky and she is almost a year old and I love her. She's very healthy. Yeah, I'm glad you have the right diagnosis now too, Tampa Bay Man. I'm going back live with y'all. Scott, the employer knows about, oh wait, I think I actually missed something that was important that I wanted to see. I wish I could star things in here. This is why I want to experiment with StreamYard or Restream. Scott says training made me miss support groups and you gave a place to do it. Scott, I'm so happy that you feel that way. I love seeing you here and I love hearing what you're going through too. I don't think I skipped your comment. Or you answered my question, actually. You answered my question. I'm curious about hearing more, Scott. Feel free to email me, Scott, if you want to go back and forth in more detail. Feel free to do it here too. It's totally up to you. You are strong, Scott. Scott says, I got a 75 out of 77, then it gave me the results. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to get the results immediately too. 75 out of 77 is a rockin'. That is definitely A material. think it's pretty lenient. Scott, did y'all have pilot questions on your exam? I have heard horror stories about the California exam that people get hung up. Like someone had a first question that was likely a pilot exam and they could not pick the right answer. They spent way too long on it, did not mark it for review and move on, and they ran out of time and did not answer 30 of the questions, which means they failed. I do not want that to happen to me. Okay, Artem, this is the one that I thought I missed. So what is the peer support test like? I mean, is it multiple choice? How do you even test for that? It is multiple choice. There are different areas of focus. Like Scott said, there's ethics, documentation, actual peer support, like situational things where they put you in a situation and then you have to pick the best answer for how you would provide support. Those are the only three I can think of. There's like 8 areas of focus, but I can only think of 3 right now. I need to jet while I drive home. Ben, you drive safe. I hope that you have a great night. Mine was multiple choice and I needed to take 48 hours of training. Yeah, mine is multiple choice and the training was, I think, 40 hours. It was 4 weeks, 8:30 to 12. That's 4 hours. 4 times 20, 80. It was an 80-hour training. What are the questions like, says Artem? Who's the authority on what good support entails? That depends on the state, Artem. In my state, the certifying body is named Cal Mesa. They are the certifying entity. They've received approval from the Department of Health Services to test for peer support. And the test has been created and validated to ensure proficiency in peer support concepts. Luke, life is pretty quick cycle of emotions for me. Excitement, stagnation, bland, motivating, none lasting for extended periods of time, glad to be out of prolonged depression. Luke, it's wonderful that you know these things are temporary. It sucks that you're in that feeling of like, it's great that you're aware. You know, again, your perspective is a strength here. I just want to empathize with you that when you're in those feelings of like, God, can this just be over? Can I get to the good times? That's a hard thing to deal with. So I commend you for being here and for being honest about what you're going through. Scott, yes, the test is under the state certification board. And as long as I follow HIPAA laws, then my peers and coworkers will help me build my peer support. Oh, I read this already, but I think it's really important because it answers our 10th question. No, Artem, it's not just legalese and HIPAA stuff. It does test peer support strategies as well. Yeah, I hear that the test that I'm going to be taking tomorrow is ethics and documentation. Oh, documentation. Did I mention documentation earlier? I have an expungement, but the day of it, I have an expungement, but the day of it, the judge called in sick. So that's just taking longer for the paperwork to happen. Oh no, Scott, that's a bummer. That's a bummer. Ah, everything is temporary. I had to wait. So y'all, I got busted in Yosemite with over 8 ounces of the Mary Jane. That's a federal park. I thought I was going to get arrested or go to jail. But this case, this open case went on for 8 months. It was horrible to have to wait for 8 months. They eventually dismissed my case, and I did not I did not have to. Well, I was held accountable in the sense that I had to spend 8 months wondering what my fate was. But ultimately, they ended up dismissing it because it was only Mary Jane. And I got off on a technicality because the police officer told me that he was going to let me go if all I had was Mary Jane. But because of the amount that I had, he cited me. And then I had to go to court. But I had a public defender who was fantastic, and she got me off on a technicality. So my case was dismissed. Thank God. It sucks having to wait for stuff like that to be resolved. Scott, I hear you. I feel you. Once it's over, though, because everything is temporary, it'll be just a memory. Scott, mostly common sense stuff. No intimacy, gifts of non-recovery, really boundary stuff. Okay, yeah. Scott, the employer knows about it. I'm sure they are a little impatient, but they know, and I know people high up in the company. Well, that's good to know people, Scott. Yeah, I agree with Tampa Bay Man. I hope you get it taken care of as soon as possible. Do you have a timeline for that, Scott? Ben's back. Welcome back, Ben. Now I got that song stuck in my head. You know what I'm talking about? Welcome back, Cotter. I know that show, Ben. But I'm also thinking of the Kanye West song now. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. You didn't drive safe, Ben? Come on, don't play with us like that. Are you serious right now? You're okay, right? Oh, you're okay. Come Alive Ministries, James. It's so nice to see you. Welcome in, friend. How the heck are you? If you're just rolling through, please smash that like button if you like what you're seeing. It helps us all out. Tampa Bay Man, how'd the GF1 go? GF1, that sounds like an airplane. Luke, I need to be productive financially, but it's not progressing like I want, and I'm not putting the effort like I know I should. Days just fly by. Mm. Hmm. Well, I've been there before too, Luke. I can so relate to a lot of things that you're talking about because for me, it was before I was properly medicated. I was not performing at the level that I'm performing at now, and I felt really bad about it. It's a pretty dark place to be when I knew from before. I mean, I was an engineer working at a medical device company for several years before I quit my job to travel. That was when I was in my addiction. I knew that when I got clean and sober that I could be performing at so much of a higher level than I was. It was so incredibly frustrating, but I needed some support. I had been self-medicating for so long that when I got clean and sober, my medicine was gone essentially, and I could not operate without it. So thank God I'm properly medicated today. If you think your brain chemistry might be off balance, and I'm not talking to you specifically, Luke, I'm talking to anybody out there who might be struggling. I cannot recommend talking with a mental health provider enough. It has been a game changer for me. And again, it took me several different healthcare providers, several different prescribers to find the right person that I vibed with well, that I trusted, and that actually prescribed me something that worked. And it took us a couple of tries before we found something that worked. But here I am, feeling better, being productive and stuff. We use sourdough for everything. I also use sourdough for everything I possibly can. I made some eggs today and I didn't use sourdough, although I could have. Scott, did you go over the study guide I sent? I looked, Scott. I did not receive anything to you from you. Where did you send it? You could just put in the first part of the email that you sent it to, or if you're open to it, feel free to send it over to this email. I've been checking all of the emails, all of the different emails that I've got. They all go to the same Gmail, but this one, this new one's a Yahoo. Thank you for sending it, Scott. I did not get it. I didn't check my spam folders though. Maybe I didn't even think to check my spam folders. I'm writing this down. Ben, she said my state. That means she owns it. The truth comes out. Statement analysis for the win. I don't, like I mentioned earlier, I don't think I'd want to run California. I definitely wouldn't want to own California. That'd be a lot of responsibility. Don't even try taking it back. Okay, fair. I didn't get to your comment before I saw or before I made my statement, Ben. Yes, sir. Luke, it bothers me that I allow my feelings to come out in casual texts and don't realize till I feel the hurt in response from the people I care about. Hmm. How do you cope with it, Luke? I hear that it bothers you. And earlier you said that you were frustrated. How are you processing the emotion that you're experiencing right now? Or like when you send text messages and things like that, what are some coping mechanisms that are either working for you right now or that have worked for you in the past other than getting loaded? Hi, Charlotte. Scott says, Charlotte, I'm guessing Charlotte is his wife. Am I right about, or no, Charlotte might be his daughter. I think Charlotte's your daughter. I apologize for not having a better memory on that one, but hi, Charlotte. Yes, Tampa Bay man, gluten-free sourdough starter. Yep, it went and it was tasty. People loved it. I made it because I had a roommate at the safe house who had celiac disease. She could not eat sourdough, like the regular wheat starter. So I made a gluten-free one with rice flour. Same technique, same process as the other one, and it was a huge hit. His name was Rico. I don't think I told you. His name was Rico. Scott, old be 90 days, but usually a week. We are at 2. I'm hoping soon. In Tucson for the scan, says James. Blood work and doc visits. Going to return home Wednesday evening. Lots of people are in Tucson. There's so many people in Tucson. I used to be in Phoenix, but I'm not anymore. Scans and blood work and doctor visits, that can be scary. Kamala, I've been having a lot going on with my teeth lately. I've been to the dentist more than I care to admit, although I admit it. It's scary. You doing okay? You're smiling, so that's a good thing. Scott, strawberry dark chocolate sourdough muffins are bomb. Also, sourdough raspberry lemon curd rolls. What? Sounds so good. I'm going to take a photograph of your comment, Scott, because I want to remember this. Thank you for that. Medical devices. My hubby works at Edwards. Yes, used to work in a medical device company. I've worked on several different teams and, well, 2 different departments, lots of different projects. I was actually pretty good at that job. I'm particularly good, if you're interested, I'm particularly good at root cause analysis and fixing things when they break. Especially if it's a process issue. If it's a process issue, I'm your girl. Texts are awful for sharing feelings. It's too risky. Seeing things in writing can feel more hurtful than hearing them. And people like to ghost to be cruel. Same here, Tara. I wish I knew what you were talking about, Heather. Ben gets Luke. Luke, you're so not alone. You have so much support here. I'm so glad you're sharing. Tampa B man, I don't use phone or speak well. Texting is my only way, is the only way I communicate, except for Zoom calls with my doc. Okay, that's good to know, Tampa B man. I think you chat really well in the lives. I've noticed. Almost at 2 months off, says Luke, of my choice. Distraction medicine, right? So riding the wave of discomfort. That's how I feel today. Well, I think it's great again with your self awareness, Luke, that you see that you're lacking your drug of choice, which was like your medicine. You were self medicating. It sounds like you don't want to go down that road right now. So those feelings do have to surface, like you were saying. You know exactly what's going on, and that is half the battle. Knowledge of what's going on is truly half the battle. Oh, Scott says I chat blasted the link a couple weeks ago. Chat blasted in the Discord, Scott. If you put it in the YouTube chat, it won't come through because only mods can put in links in the YouTube chat. But if you put it in the Discord, I can go back and see. I did not see that come through. Yeah, let me know how you chat blasted that. Oh, Come Alive's in Kingman, Arizona. I know where that is. Had some trouble getting along with my brothers on the Eclipse road trip, so that's heavy in my thoughts right now. Luke, the Eclipse was some heavy duty energy, wasn't it? That was some stuff right there. And I had some, like, my infection came back uh, right before the Eclipse. Thank God it feels resolved now, although I'm going to have to continue my care to make sure that it's handled appropriately. Drama with family is so difficult to handle. The energy was super heavy on the Eclipse, though, and everything is temporary. I'm still wondering, Luke, maybe I missed it. I'm wondering how you are going to process and cope with these things, or how you are doing that. What is working for you? Ben says, Tampa B man, you sound like you're being a little hard on yourself. I've seen you on AA rounds. I haven't been over to AA round. I keep hearing about him. Like you're being a little hard on yourself. I'm gonna go back and look at. I think you're talking about um, the communication. I think it's very self-aware. I think it's great that Tampa B man knows, what she's good at, and what maybe um, what's the way to say this? Areas that maybe she needs some support. I think that's a really important skill in recovery, to recognize where we need help sometimes. Artem, Tampa, what do you mean you don't speak well? Like, are you speech impaired, or is it that you feel comfortable taking your time formulating thoughts over text or something? That's a fair question for some clarification. Artem's taking some interest in Tampa B Man's experience and what she's meaning. Scott forwarded the email with all the stuff I received. Okay, I'm wondering to what email address, Scott. I will go and check my junk folder, but I did not receive it. And I looked. I like specifically went and looked for it. Maybe that's why the test failed. Well, the test failed. Let me rephrase that. Maybe that's why I had technical difficulties. Maybe it's imperative that I see this study guide before I take the exam, Scott. Okay, Tampa B man says, Bacon Ben. I call him Bacon Ben too. Thanks. It's part because I didn't talk to anybody or talk to anybody, anyone, but my partner for 5 years. Then I had, or okay, didn't talk to anyone but my partner for 5 years. Then I had paralyzed vocal cords, and now vocal cord implant makes me freeze and fear to speak. Well, that makes total sense, Tampa B man, that you would want to communicate in other ways. I think it's wonderful that you're aware of that. What works best for you. Yeah, it does sound hard, Artem. I like the empathy that you're showing, Artem. See, Ben, you think you're not good at peer support, but look at you. You say you're sorry to hear that, Tampa. I have a lower lip that has no feeling, and I think that's hard. It's nothing compared to what you're recovering from. I mean, I don't, you don't need, like, Ben, your experiences are valid, and they're just as important as anybody else's, is my perspective on the situation. I think it's wonderful though that you're sharing your experience about your lower lip with Tampa B. So Tampa B, you're definitely not alone. Tampa B, I'm a chatty Cathy in chats. That's what I've seen, Tampa B, is you do great in chats. Right, Tampa B man. Yeah, mine isn't any harder than yours. We all have our stuff. Luke, you had a toothache on your trip? Yeah, it is crazy that my infection came back. That was not fun to deal with. They said it must not have been cleaned out all the way. Something got left behind. Terrifying. How's it feeling now, Luke? I'm going to be going to the dentist next week for another checkup. Love lasts forever, says Tampa B man. Yes, it does, Tampa B man. True love. That's just my opinion. Drama with the family, says Ben. He hears me. It's so hard when you have a mother that flips from non-traditional narcissism with the guilt trips and you don't love me to traditional. Ooh, that would be difficult. then that would be very difficult to navigate. Luke, I watch my breath and concentrate on relaxing while slowly exhaling. That's been my support for the last few years. Okay, that's a good breath work is definitely a good coping mechanism, Luke. I'm so glad that you're aware of that. And also, I wanted to say, Ben, I appreciate that you are sharing about yourself. I don't, I feel like I don't hear you talk about yourself and your experiences very much. So I just want to highlight that your openness is definitely valued here. And I appreciate you sharing that with us. Yeah, Ben, Luke, that's actually a good tactic to get your thinking brain engaged. Yep. Tara, what of your personal life buckets feel the most full and the least full? Which buckets are you proud of? Which ones are lacking? Um, which ones lack and need prioritizing? I think is what is meant. So I am proud of how I've been showing up for other people. Good question. I appreciate your question, Scott. I have been creating space for other people for some time now, and I'm really proud of that. I think I'm lacking in prioritizing my own self worth and the value of the service that I'm providing. So that's something I really need to work on. I think that I've been doing good at taking care of my health, like making sure that my dental health is tended to and in order. I think I could do better at taking care of my physical health in terms of um, like I've been eating well and like I said, taking care of my mouth. I think that I need to get back to rock climbing. I have been slacking the past few months, and the same with yoga. I haven't been doing yoga for a few months, and it's like a few months too long. I used to do yoga every single day, even when I lived in my car. So well, not every day, but like 4 or 5 times a week, I was in my practice or on the wall, on the climbing wall, or in the water surfing. And I like still, I do have plans, y'all, to get back on my board back in the water sometime soon. I've got a buddy that wants to go to the beach with me, so that's exciting. But I just need to get back into a routine with my taking care of my body and having fun because I've been putting so much time and effort into my recovery, my mental health that my like having fun has definitely fallen to the wayside. And I think it all kind of Scott, I think it all kind of funnels together. It's like I've been pouring myself into other people a lot the past several months, but I need to pour into myself. Artem has to get going. Good stream. Thanks, Sarah. I'll try to join you Thursday, half an hour early. Right on, Artem. I'll see you. What a coincidence because you were my hero, says Ben to Tampa B Man. Aw. Luke says tooth was super temperature sensitive. Now not so much. Seems like the nerves died. Ooh. Have you been to the dentist, Luke? My step family is trash. Makes me miss my mom. Oh, Scott. Into astrophysics and love quantum entanglement. We are connected and will communicate across the universe instantaneously. I love that perspective, Tampa Bay Man. Ben, boundaries are the answer and having to stand firm. Yes. Scott just sent that stuff to my email. Thank you, Scott. I appreciate you. Tampa B Man misses her mom too. I had the best mom ever. I wish everyone had the love for my mom. Oh, that's so sweet. I love my mom too. Hi, mom. Luke, breath work led me to become in love with myself, subtle energy, and magic. Luke, that is fantastic. I'm so happy to hear that. Great coping mechanism. Keep up that hard work, Luke. Heather, I hear what you're saying. I want you to know this is a safe space. People share all kinds of stuff here. I do offer one-on-ones in the event that you want to get more in detail, or you can email me if you want at put my email address in for you if you feel like sharing. Also, we have a one-on-one meeting every Thursday night where we get face-to-face. I moved it. I'm going to be ending at 7 o'clock on the dot moving forward, just as a heads up to people who've been going to that meeting. You're free to stay in there if you want to keep chatting, but I am going to be rolling at 7 o'clock. I show up at 5:30 Pacific Standard Time. Email me at the address I dropped. Come to the Discord meeting. It's face to face. It's so much fun. I love seeing your faces in the Discord meeting on Thursdays. And you don't have to go on camera, just so you know. You are free to just go on voice or be in the chat if that's what you want. Also, I am offering one-on-one peer support sessions now, and I am doing an introductory special. I am giving 30 minutes for $15. So that's the first 15 minutes for free while supplies last. This is limited time. I'm not going to be able to offer this forever, so take advantage of it while it lasts. Email me if that's something that you want to take advantage of. Scott, can we express ourselves differently to show you the impact you have? Scott, what do you mean by that? Heather, sharing your story helps others. I'd love to hear it. Absolutely, Heather, same. See, you've got people in the chat, Heather, who hearing shared lived experience is helpful. Opening up about what we've been through is helpful. I also understand that not everybody feels comfortable doing that in a public space. So that is why making myself available privately, if that's something that you or anybody is interested in. Luke, thank you, Tara. I really appreciate and look forward to the spaces to mingle. Right on, Luke. And could have been a crack that healed or maybe a gum that healed. Yeah, I'm thinking that I have a gum issue right now and I might need to see a periodontist. Scott says, my mom taught me how to love hard, but she had substance abuse disorder, asthma, and diabetes, made us all codependent, but I still miss the crap out of her. Aw. I'm sorry for your loss, Scott. I love smart people too. Tampa B man engineers are my second fave after astrophysicists. I will take that. I will take that. She ended up just not taking care of herself. That must have been hard to watch, Scott. I have Stockholm syndrome and no one understands. I get it, Heather. Tampa B man, thank you for sharing that. Scott, you were talking about your worth as a peer specialist. I was just wondering if maybe we could show you gratuity in a way you best accept it. Well, thank you, Scott. You know what would help me if like donations really help. That I have been loving people making the donations. Actually, I created a banner in StreamYard, I think it was, to thank sponsors of this show. I've received some donations and they're greatly appreciated. You can donate on Cash App or Venmo to show appreciation. That really makes a difference for me. It keeps me motivated to want to continue doing this. Also, I'm available for one-on-ones if you'd like to book a service with me. I would be happy to serve you. And it's not just peer support that I can offer support in. I'm also an engineer and a math tutor. So showing support either by supporting my um, business, or if you want to make a donation to the channel so I can keep the doors open, that would make a huge difference. Your presence here though means everything to me. I mean, money and donations aside, like yeah, that helps. Like it helps, but your presence in your chat and you sharing what you're going through, that makes a huge difference as well. And Scott, you helping me study for my exam by emailing me the link to the study guide really helps too. Thank you. And thanks for asking. I really value the fact that you actually asked that question, Scott. Thank you. Tampa B Man, do you have a PayPal? My daughter hijacked my Venmo. I do have a PayPal, Tampa B Man. Let me see if I can get it for you quickly. I think it's tarasmiling. Let me see here. Oh, now it wants me to get a code. And I have my phone on Do Not Disturb. Okay, here we go. Bear with me, y'all. I really appreciate the question. Okay, so how do I send and request? Request. Does anybody know how I share PayPal? Because I don't know how to do it. I'm gonna go check the chat. I have to get a money sharing app. I'm such a boomer at heart. Right on, Scott. It makes things really easy. Venmo and Cash App are my favorites, but now I'm trying to figure out PayPal. Let's see. Now it wants me to download an app. Can I just do it from the... well, I'll have to get that for y'all later. I don't want to keep y'all here while I try to figure out how to share a PayPal link. Ooh, Heather, I'm a survivor of SA from the Catholic Church ritual satanic abuse when I was 2.5 years old. Heather, it makes total sense why you would be hesitant to share that. I just want you to know that I really appreciate the fact that you just did that. I'm really proud of you for coming out and sharing that. I've also been hurt by the church. I think a lot of people have. Thank God. Thank God I don't have to live that way anymore. And Heather, I'm so glad that you're here with us sharing. Ganan in the house. I think I'm saying that right. Did you paint that painting? I did paint that painting, Ganan. I sure did. Tampa B Man, no worries. I'll be around. Tampa B Man, I hope to see you again. I love having you in the chat. And thank you. Scott, what do you think and feel 5 minutes after a stream ends? I think I need to have some food. Did I finish this? Hydrate. Sometimes I don't drink enough water. I've been drinking this for like 3 hours. Some of y'all know. or 2 hours or something like that. And you know what, honestly, Scott, I feel like I want to continue talking. I feel like I need to pick up the phone and call somebody aside from eating and like fulfilling my own like self-care needs, like hydrating and eating food. I feel like I want to keep being social. So I almost thought it was like past 7. I was like, um, if y'all don't know about the lifeboat, I have recently become a part of this other community. I'm going to drop a link. Let me get a link for y'all. I'm going to be over at the lifeboat at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. That's in an hour and 10 minutes. It's so much fun to be a part of their community. Their chats are way more wild than mine. They've got a lot of people. They've been doing this for way longer than me. And it's a really great community. A lot of you already are familiar with the lifeboat, but if you're not, I want you to feel free to join us. They go live twice a day on the 7s Pacific Standard Time. Meaning 7 o'clock a.m. and 7 o'clock p.m. Ben, are you an extrovert, Tara, or an ambivert? I think we've had this conversation before, Ben. I am an ambivert. I'm somewhere in the middle, neither extrovert nor introvert, although I can oscillate one way or the other at times. It just depends on the situation and what's going on in my life. When I was in university, I believe I tested as an extrovert, but then going through, my um, living in my car for 5 years and living in shelters for 2 years, I tested later on when I was at the safe house during a group therapy session, and I actually tested as an ambivert. But I don't know that that was a outcome of the test that I took when I was in university. And I was very close on the line when I took it. When I told you I minored in psychology, so it would be interesting now that I'm out of the shelter system and I have my own space, thank God, that if I took the test again, like I wonder where I would fall on that scale. But probably if ambivert was a potential outcome, I'm guessing I would fall into that same category. James, Come Alive Ministries. The Lifeboat is another peer support channel. The original creator is in recovery from heroin. I believe he's been sober from heroin for 8 years now. The channel is going through a transition, and now his son, Spanx Calhoun, is hosting the channel. They're kind of doing a hybrid where maybe Tommy hosts in the morning, or this morning both of them were on. Tonight, I think it'll be Spanx hosting. He's talking about having people on hosting the Lifeboat. I think it would be so great to be able to host that show. And I've volunteered to do that already. So if that happens, I will let y'all know. And he's even talked about interviewing me on the channel, which I would be honored. I think it would be so great to go over there and get to connect with the people over there at a more intimate level, see, what kind of questions come up, see how it goes. So hopefully that happens, and I'll definitely keep you on the loop. But to answer your question, James, Lifeboat is another peer support channel focused on recovery from substance misuse, but there's a lot of people over there in recovery, like normies who don't have substance abuse issues, who are in recovery from mental health issues or something else. There's all kinds of things that you can be in recovery from. And the beautiful thing about recovery is that similar techniques work for different situations. So I think having the support and being able to connect with people, that's a huge thing that they harp on over there, and that comes up constantly. Is that I think it's a Gabor Mate quote, actually, but Tommy says it all the time, and now Spanx says it all the time. The opposite, and I've said it on here before as well. Before I started going over to the lifeboat. I'm pretty sure it's Gabor Mate who I heard this from the first time. Maybe he got it from Tommy, who knows. But the opposite of addiction is connection. They really emphasize that. And so the focus of that channel is to create opportunities for people to connect. And they have a Discord channel as well. Let me get the link for you over to the Lifeboats Discord because it's such a great little community. Well, it's a great big community compared to my dinky little server. James, you might really like this server. That's the Lifeboat server that I just posted. Scott, I'm very talkative and an overshare when I'm with people, but I don't like going to people. Oh, Scott. I used to be that way as well. It was very difficult for me to go to people with my challenges. Recovery and exercising that muscle of asking for help has helped me overcome that. Scott, is there anything that we could do or that I could do to make it easier for you to come to us when you have something going on, or to come, shoot me an email? Is there anything holding you back from doing that? Heather, that is insane. Heather says, when I was able to speak about it, we went and reported it to the police. They burned my records to hide it. That's unbelievable, Heather. What an injustice that is. Tommy and Reese are doing a live call-in show now, but I'm happy where I'm at right now. Oh my gosh, I did not know that. I thought they were going to do a call-in show last night. I'm going to wrap it up here in a minute because I want to call in to that show. And I was planning on wrapping it up here soon. We've been going for an hour and 41 minutes. Let's see if I have time to call into that show. Dinky, more like comfy. Tampa Bay man, I'm honored that you feel happy where you're at right now. I don't want to compete with Tommy and Reese though. You're not dinky, Tara. You're ginormous. Thank you. Dinky. Did I call myself dinky? I didn't even catch that. I don't mean to be self-deprecating. Who else do you listen to other than Gabor? In terms of recovery, I listen to a lot of Dr. Ramani. That's the first and only person that actually comes to my mind. I've been listening to a lot of Lifeboat lately as well. Heather's a recovered alcoholic over 13 years. That's what's up. Congratulations, Heather. That's way longer than me. I've been in recovery for 3 years now. I just celebrated a couple weeks ago. 13 years, that's quite the accomplishment. I need to get Carol over at Needing a Meeting has tiaras, or a tiara. Tommy over at the Lifeboat has a trophy. I need to do something like that. Oh, you know what? I've been giving people trophies. I forgot about this. I've been giving people trophies in the chat. I'm going to get you a trophy, Heather. That's to 13 years, Heather. Tampa B Man says you ask the best questions, Tara. Thanks, Tampa B Man. I'm hoping I get to ask a question tonight. I have a couple written in my journal that I've been saving. I don't remember what they are right now. I'm going to have to look. See you next live, Tara. See you, Heather. I'll see you next time, hopefully. That's a good question, says Scott. I honestly had so much pride in the trauma I overcame that I tend to circle back after I made it through and kind of just rack it up. It's a post-recovery habit. I don't know if I understand. I'm trying to understand what you mean by that, Scott. Do you mean that you circle back and repeat the cycle? or you circle back and so much part in the trauma, or that you revisit the trauma. What do you mean by that? Hey, Heather, I am winding down, but it's nice to see you here. I'm probably going to end it. I'm going to wait to see if Scott responds to my question. And then, did I share everything that I had to share? Oh, one thing as we kind of land the plane here. I mentioned earlier that I adjusted the time of the Discord meeting. From now on, just so y'all know, I'm going to be ending right at 7. If y'all want to stay after the meeting to continue chatting, Discord is awesome for that. That's one of the reasons I love Discord, is because we can stay on and chat. Nobody has to stay on to keep the doors open. We are going to be starting the meeting at 5:30, moving forward and going until 7 Pacific Standard Time. Also, with my new schedule starting with, I had just had the interview today. Training is going to start next week, and then I'll be actually starting the part-time job here soon. My schedule is going to be changing, is what I'm trying to say. And so I don't know. Hopefully, I'm able to continue doing live streams on Monday. I may have to scale back my first week back at work, just to give myself the ability to take care of myself, feed myself, get enough sleep, all of that. But I will communicate exactly any changes that are going to be going on preemptively so that it's not a shock to anybody. So the point that I'm trying to make is like, I want to make sure that I can handle everything and that I do a good job at everything that I do. So I plan on continue showing up for you. It might just look a little bit different moving forward, but I will definitely keep you in the loop. And who knows, maybe I'll start coming on more often once I get into the flow of things. But it's TBD right now. It's all very much TBD. The level of unconditional love expressed changed me in a lot of ways. Unconditional love will do that, Luke. Mm-hmm. Same. It's something I'm getting used to also. Heather, I'm working on changing my DNA through my Akashic record um, um, at hard work. I think that's awesome, Heather. I like where your head's at. Scott, I acknowledge it separately after I made it through. I tend to have a strict process to navigate problems and then leave alone. I try my absolute hardest to not look at my trauma as a whole. Okay. Thanks for answering my question, Scott. I think I understand what you're saying. So, and I'm similar. I keep things together when things are hitting the fan. I seem to keep my stuff together, and people might not know that people might not know that the experience affected me in a very deep and traumatic way. But after the fact, when I process things, that's when I really realize that I've been affected by something. I think that's what you're saying. Like you compartment, or I'm relating to you in terms of that I compartmentalize traumas sometimes and don't even realize that I've been traumatized until weeks or months, or in some events, years after. And it's served me very well to journal and then highlight recurring themes and bring that to my therapist. That's really, and what has worked really well for me is running EMDR with my therapist on the particularly challenging things that talk therapy don't quite get at. The good news is that EMDR has worked for me, and it doesn't work for everybody. And not everybody's a good candidate for EMDR, but for some people like me, it works really well. In addition to the chemical cocktail that my mental health and physical health care providers prescribe for me, a combination of all of those things has been a game changer for me. Biscuits and donuts. Scott, it's hard to share my whole story and not sound like I'm trauma dumping or seeming pity, it feels like. Well, Scott, you know what they say in peer support, at least this is what we learned. Recovery stories should be 80-20. It's best to aim for 80-20. So aim for, am I getting that right? I believe so. 20% experience and story, 80% recovery and hope. I don't always do a good job at that. It's kind of challenging sometimes, if to try and get all the details and to focus on hope. EMDR for me made it worse up front, but then it made me so much better. And Ben said, like switching into survival mode, right? Yeah, EMDR is not a good fit for everyone. The hard part is that my losses are such a huge part of my story. Yeah, Scott, we got to share our lived experience. It helps. It helps people to hear where we've been and what we've overcome. For me, I'm trying. I feel inspired lately to kind of leave my past behind. If people want to poke and prod to figure out where I've been, then that's fine. I find myself dropping, memories about living in my car and the shelter and safe houses and stuff, but I don't feel inspired to really go into too much more detail than that. But if people ask me questions, I'll answer. Rachel, just saying, hey, I hope everyone's good. Rachel, it's nice to see you. I am just getting ready to wrap it up here. Wow, I lost track of what I was saying when I typed it. All right, y'all. Um, it has been a pleasure speaking with you as always. I appreciate the inquiries about how to express gratitude. That felt really, really nice to receive that from y'all. Thank you so much. I'm gonna have to figure out how to get that PayPal link as it was requested. I am tempted to ask you so much, tarasmiling, but will refrain for now. Ben, I'm pretty much an open book, but feel free to ask me anything. Tampa B Man said, Ben, that happens to me all the time. I think she's referring to losing track of what she was saying when typing. Maybe later on Discord. All right. Well, on that note, everybody, I am going to drop a link to the Discord. I hope to see you all there on Thursday. Bear with me while I get that link. Hopefully I got the right link. I think I did. That is a link to my Discord server. Rachel actually started this server. She gifted it to me and transferred ownership to me. I'm still trying to figure out what to do with it, much like I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing with YouTube and how to balance everything so that it serves not only everybody else, but that it works for me too. So bear with me while I experience these growing pains and try to figure all this stuff out. I appreciate you all so very much. It has been a pleasure speaking with you as always. I'm going to head over to Tommy and Reese's channel over at Relataboat to try and hit the call in. And then I'll see y'all over at the lifeboat at 7 if you're so inclined to join. Take it easy, y'all. Bye, y'all. Thursdays, Tara, Thursdays, she gets a whole day. Yes, Thursday. Okay, yes. Hopefully see you Thursday. It's been a pleasure speaking with you all as always. I love you all very, very much. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I hope to talk to you soon.